Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Good evening and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Ebunlomo Adekunle. In our major story, 2 young girls suspected to be suicide bombers blew themselves up in the popular GSM market in Potiskum, Yobe State. Also in this program, the All Progressives Congress says the Department of State Security is acting out the script of the People's Democratic Party to shift the 2015 general elections. Spokesman of the Presidential Campaign Organization of the People's Democratic Party, Femi Fani-Kayode, says the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress should call his supporters to order over alleged violence. Outside Nigeria, world leaders join an estimated 1.5 million people in the march against terror in the French capital, Paris, days after a series of jihadi-linked attacks killed 17 people. Scores of people are feared dead after 2 suspected child suicide bombers blew themselves up in the popular Potiskum GSM market in Yobe State. The blast struck around mid-afternoon at the open market that is popular for its sale of handsets and is normally referred to as the GSM market in Potiskum. The attacks, according to eyewitnesses in the market, was carried out by 2 young girls who looked about 10 years. The attacks came barely 24 hours after another young girl blew herself up in Maiduguri's Monday market, killing 20 people. The town was earlier struck in November when 48 people, mainly students, were killed at a school assembly. A bomb had earlier exploded at a police station in the town on Saturday. Local authorities in Maiduguri have confirmed that the suicide bomber that hit a market on Saturday is an underage girl. They came to this conclusion on sighting the upper body of the suicide bomber that was detached from the main body. The bomb was detonated while she was passing through security checks at the entrance of the market. No fewer than 20 people were killed in the market, including 2 vigilante members who were searching her. The same market was hit on December 1st by 2 female suicide bombers. Human rights lawyer Femi Falana has asked the Minister of Finance, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, to supply him with information on the $1 billion loan approved by the National Assembly for the purchase of military hardware to prosecute the war against terrorism. Falana, who made the request in a letter dated January 9, 2015, on the strength of the provisions of the Freedom of Information Act, gave a 7-day window for the minister to supply him the information. He threatened to sue the minister if she failed to release the information within the 7 days ultimatum, while also lamenting that the loan approval has not translated to any meaningful development, with soldiers continually asking for weapons to prosecute the war against the insurgents. He says it is unfortunate that the authorities, having failed to address the legitimate request of soldiers, is now sending them to death and is also planning to do same for hundreds more. The All Progressives Congress in Okrika local government area of Rivers State again came under attack in the early hours of Sunday, just as 3 members of the party were martyred while preparing for a rally in Rumweme, Obio Akwa local government area. The APC chairman in Okrika local government area, Christian Asifamaka, who narrated how the ground floor of a 3-story building housing the party secretariat was attacked, disclosed that some unidentified persons threw a dynamite in the secretariat, which exploded at about 3:14 a.m. Asifamaka stated that the incident occurred in Abam Ama community, adding that his office was hit as the entire wall was pulled down by the explosion. Asifamaka says the PDP's resort to violence is a result of its knowledge that Okrika people had rejected it because of its inability to attract any meaningful development to the local government area. The APC leader in Obio Akpo and the House of Representatives candidate Tony Okocha explained that a chief from Warri who had come to Rumweme to be part of the APC rally on Sunday was hit several times. Okocha said he personally drove the 3 injured members of the APC to the hospital and expressed worry over the whereabouts of the chief. The All Progressives Congress has continued its war of words with the Directorate of State Security over allegations that it is planning to hack into the database of the Independent National Electoral Commission, describing the agency as a disgrace to the intelligence gathering community. The party's position was made known at press briefing addressed by its National Publicity Secretary, Lai Mohammed, at the raided data center in Lagos. Details brought back by Adebolu Adebisi in this report will be brought to you later. People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Organization has called on the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, to call his supporters to order and ensure a violence-free election. Director of Media and Publicity of the organization, Femi Fani-Kayode, made the call in a statement issued on Sunday in Abuja against the backdrop of the violence, arson and destruction unleashed on President Goodluck Jonathan's campaign buses at Zulolo Junction along Bauchi Road in Jos North local government area of Plateau State on Saturday. Fani-Kayode warned Buhari and the APC not to prepare the ground for the reenactment of the post-election violence of 2011. Fani-Kayode in the statement said the APC presidential candidate never apologized to Nigerians for the post-election violence that were instigated by his utterances, warning him not to prepare ground for another orgy of violence. He called on all Nigerians and members of the international community to speak against what he described as mindless violence. The Catholic Bishop of Ekiti Diocese, Felix Ajakaye, has dissociated himself from an online report of January 9th calling for the arrest and prosecution of the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, for allegedly making unguarded statements. He also called on politicians canvassing for elective posts to focus on ideas and policies that will enhance the growth and development of the country and not to heat up the polity. In a statement on Sunday in Ado-Ekiti, the bishop said he was not aware of the online report until he started receiving calls from concerned people, but stated that it was a 2012 report that is now being recycled. Ajakaye described the online story as a practical example of politics of desperation and manipulation, saying those behind the recycled story are agents of division and darkness. And ahead of the February 14th presidential election, the Unity Party of Nigeria says it has not adopted any presidential candidate. The National Secretary of the party, Abubakar Swakoto, clarified this in a statement issued in Abuja on Sunday. The suspended UPN National Chairman, Frederick Fasheon, recently led members of the party at a national convention in Lagos to endorse President Goodluck Jonathan as the party's presidential flag bearer for the poll. But Sokoto said the party received the news as a great embarrassment to all its leaders and supporters across the world. He says the party was not resuscitated, according to him, negotiate a 3.5 billion naira pipeline contract. He added that the party placed its national chairman, Frederick Fashion, on suspension due to his dictatorial tendencies, urging party members to ignore the alleged endorsement, while also adding that the party is not for the pursuit of selfish personal interest. The National Secretary also says any development will be communicated to the public in due course. It's the CoreTV Primetime News. We'll be back after this break.
Every day, every hour, and every minute, news break in Nigeria. Things happen so fast, it's most times difficult to track and comprehend them. But that's what we do right here on Digit 360. 2015, would you want to come back again?
It's like asking Jesus Christ if he knew he was going to die, will you want to come back as the savior of the world again?
We do not just help you track the stories, we break them down, explore all the angles, analyze the issues so that you can fully comprehend the stories and use them to make the right decisions.
Thank you for being there, and if you're just joining us, a quick reminder of our major stories. 2 young girls suspected to be suicide bombers blew themselves up in the popular GSM market in Potiskum, Yobe State. The All Progressives Congress says the Department of State Security is acting out the script of the People's Democratic Party to shift the 2015 general elections. Spokesman of the Presidential Campaign Organization of the People's Democratic Party, Femi Fani-Kayode, says the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress should call his supporters to order over alleged violence. And for more news and other information, you can visit a social media platform on Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle @CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV, with a space, then news. Legal practitioners in Lagos have thrown their weight behind the APC presidential ticket, Buhari and Oshibajo, for the presidential seat ahead of the February 14th polls. The practitioners under the umbrella of Lawyers for Change group say the personalities of both candidates can be trusted, especially as the country seeks to rid itself of corruption and yearn for better governance.
We have seen in this country, except we are deceiving ourselves, is that for the past 8 years or 6 years of this particular administration, in fact, what the experience has taught us is that they are not performing. They may mean well, which I doubt, but they are just simply not performing. So what do? You look for alternative. What the experience has taught us here is that you change a non-performer for a performer.
A gathering of legal practitioners and journalists, he addressed that the coordinator of the group says beyond the election, the goal of the group is to regulate the polity and put leaders in check to bring about true democracy.
The pressure of politics, you put pressure to get things done. We are very much political. Forget it, very much political. Of course, I'm interested who becomes the leader of my country. I must be, except I'm not so wise, because who becomes the leader of your country determines a lot of things in your life.
The gathering also decried the performance of the Independent National Electoral Commission as one not befitting for a democratic country like Nigeria. As the presidential campaigns kick into top gear across the nation, Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola has restated the need for Nigerians to vote for a president who will manage the nation's resources well in the face of the economic hardship faced by Nigerians. Speaking at a book launch in Ilorin, Aregbesola says in the fight against corruption and the quest to spread prosperity across the land, Nigerians have the choice to make this happen come February 14th.
What I was saying anymore about symbol or whatever. What matters now is that we must stop corruption. We must stop mismanagement of our resources. If a party we are administering Nigeria and during the course of that administration, the nation loses on every day 400,000 barrels, which in a day translates $20 million, which in a year translates to 1.2 trillion naira. It's not to say enough. It's time to say enough is enough.
Aregbesola, however, advised Nigerians to embrace industrialization in all facets of the nation's economy to boost Nigeria's standard of living.
And the young we produce remains as young. Our universities, our polytechnics have not helped in converting young to anything other than amala at best. Until we industrialize what we produce here and we make it first abundant for our people to use and consume, we will end up agonizing about pre-ordering doom after a boom. So, the way out of our challenge as a people, as a nation, is to promote food production, agriculture, but with emphasis on food. The surplus in such production will lead to innovation that will convert such commodity to several other things.
A member of the House of Representatives representing Oshodi Sola Federal Constituency 2, Hakeem Muniru, says that all Nigerians who are registered should be allowed to vote. He says the issue of the permanent voter cards is just an administrative one by the Independent National Electoral Commission that should not be put ahead of the constitutional matter which people being able to exercise their franchise is.
We don't have a choice than to make them vote with that temporary voter's card. Because to me, it's just a way of trying to tell people that they cannot vote because they have not satisfied what is not constitutional. PVC, TVC is not constitutional. What is constitutional is that it must be 18 years for you to vote. So, what are we talking about here now? We're talking about, but the process must be credible. The process must be fair. And the process, the election must be free. So, what are those ingredients that makes it free, fair, and credible? These are the ingredients that talk about. So one of it is PVC. But in between PVC and the TVs, we must, now I cannot distribute to every Nigerian because of the time.
The Plateau State government has explained its refusal to pay the local government workers their 6-month salaries during the 2012 6-month strike by the workers. Special advisor to the governor on labor matters, Simon Kwamkor, while speaking with CoreTV News, reaffirms the position of the state government that the workers did not exhaust all means of negotiation before embarking on the strike action, which lasted 6 months and do not deserve to be paid. He says the action of the workers is against the Constitution as it does not stipulate that any striking worker be paid wages. Kwamkor added that there are situations where a striking worker may be paid, but this, according to him, is not automatic, stressing that it's a right that can be claimed by anybody.
Anybody can claim that he has not been paid. You can only appeal, or you can only negotiate, or you can only use some other avenues. But you know, when it becomes confrontational, that you are not paid for being on strike, then it becomes, of course, recently you know that the federal government had the same thing with the tertiary institutions. And the law was applied, and they were not paid. That if you don't work, you should not be paid. So some people sit down and think that it's Governor Jan's law. No. Far from it.
Kwamkot says workers must be told that their pay is not given, but something they must work for.
Which salary are they on?
During the strike period?
During the strike period, we told them clearly that when you do not work, you're not supposed to be paid. This is not the position of Governor John Adebijam. No, it is the position of the law. And I'm a lawyer. There are laws, workers' laws, that provide that every worker is supposed to put in his best on daily basis in his workplace. And it is expected that you are paid your wages at the end of the month as a result of what you've done within that month.
Kwamko, who is a lawyer, advises workers in the country to stop being confrontational with the government.
The law that says they should not be paid will apply. There are situations whereby workers will take the government to court because government prevented, assuming they lock the office, we lock this gate now. They say we don't want any worker here. It is assumed that by the end of the month, he will come and ask for his salary because he didn't refuse to come. He was by the gate and you refused him entrance to work. So in the same manner, if the worker carries his tool and says, look, I'm down tooling, he's also saying that I'm not ready to be paid at the end of the month. Now, the other points you must understand, and a lot of Plateau people need to know that, and even workers worldwide, is that you are expected to work for the salary you earn. And even those of us, the Holy Books also mention that.
Incessant strike actions by workers' unions in Nigeria have become a major source of worry for stakeholders. Speaking on the matter, the President, National Union of Textile, Garment and Tailoring Workers of Nigeria, Oladile Hunsu, frowns at the way workers embark on strike on issues that may be resolved without necessarily boycotting work. He added that there are so many ways to settle disputes aside strike. Hunsu, however, says the failure of government to address issues has ensured that workers have no alternative but to go on strike to press home their demands.
Of course, Nigerian government don't listen to protests. We've embarked on protest march. You understand me? It's only in a country where government respect the people, where government respect the Sanchez agreement, that when you go on the street to protest, it has implication for the government. But Nigerian government, they are not sensitive. If you go on the street to carry placards, they will not listen to you because most of that is not derived their power from the people. Hope you understand. So that's what I'm saying. It's only in a better economy. You understand? In the developed world, if people go on the street to protest, governments will be very, very careful and they'll be jittery. But in Nigeria, we have adopted all forms of protest, either rally, either speeches. You understand me? But government have never listened to any of this. And the language the government understands is strike. Whether the strike has achieved the result or not, that's another discussion for another day. But that is the only language you understand.
In what he described as fulfillment of his electoral promises, a member of the House of Representatives, Bamidele Fakparusi, has given out scholarships and bursaries to students within his constituency in the Ekiti South Federal Constituency 2 of Ekiti State. The lawmaker, who is seeking another term on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, while speaking at the Ode Ekiti venue of the ceremony, says the scholarships and bursaries are vital to help in securing the future of the youth in the constituency.
Our students, they are the future of tomorrow. They are future, and it's our responsibility as leaders to take care of them, to help them secure that future, to help them nurture that future. And the bursary and the X scholarship is in furtherance to that, to help them to nurture their future, to support them in their education endeavor.
Leaders also for the assistance to all students. And there is a saying in law, let's keep some episode no people, which is the fact is so clear about the assistance that you been given to us.
For your second term in office, and we are saying that we are going to support you with everything we have by the grace of God.
And now we have the details to our earlier report, which says the All Progressives Congress has continued its war of words with the Directorate of State Security over allegations that it was planning to hack into the database of the Independent National Electoral Commission, describing the agency as a disgrace to the intelligence gathering community. The party's position was made known at a press briefing addressed by its National Publicity Secretary, Lai Mohammed, at the Raided Data Center in Lagos. Details brought back by Adebolu Adebisi is in this report presented from our studio. When in the early hours of Saturday, November 22nd, 2014, the DSS raided a data center in Lagos belonging to the All Progressives Congress, the stage was set for a battle of epic proportion between the agency and the nation's leading opposition party. But just when many Nigerians were forgetting the raid, the DSS dropped what in street parlance can be termed the bomb through its spokesperson, Marilyn Oga.
That one of the hard drives recovered from the building contained a video of 21 hacking tutorials. The tutorial video focused on the following areas: how to become a hacker and steps to take to avoid detection in the process of hacking web servers, steps and procedures of system hacking, password cracking, decrypting, escalating access privileges, and creating backdoors to servers. It also explicitly explained how to evade security of databases, such as intrusion detection system, IDS, firewalls, and other measures put in place to detect hackers.
But the APC, through its National Publicity Secretary, Lai Mohammed, has responded with a press briefing at the facility, with the spokesman saying that all what the agency is doing is to act out a script to find a way to shift the elections on the pretext that the voters' register has been compromised.
It is no coincidence that the DSS raised the APC data center on November 22nd, 2014, exactly 1 week before the start of the PVC distribution exercise on November 20, 2014. The reason for the raid to vandalize our data center is because the service is working hand in hand with the PDP. They carried out the raids to know our party's strength in terms of membership. Please note that after the raids, many of our registered members could not find their names on the list when they went to collect their PVCs.
Some of the officials working at the center narrate their experience in the hands of the DSS operatives.
When they got to my house, they said I have in my custody what it takes to destroy the enemy. I asked, who are the enemies? And what do I have that I want to use to destroy the enemy?
Started taking us about, breaking into rooms, trying to drag the rest out that were possibly resting after the night walk. They dragged them all out, and they drew them into the place where they had held as captive.
Guy now called me later that now they've tarnished their image, that they have vandalized APC center, that they needed to video me. There are some things they need to ask me, and I must cooperate with them if really we want to leave the office. Then I said, what do you guys want me to say? That they will video me. I have to tell them that the office was not being vandalized when they get to the when they came to the office.
Daniel, who is one of the officers that came with them, claimed to be the head of the patrol team, called on me and asked me a question. He said to me that I work here. I said yes. And I said that he asked me a question. He said, If you have something in your custody that belongs to the federal government of Nigeria, and that something happens to be a detriment to the nation, what do you expect your enemy to do? And I looked at him and said, I don't understand this question. He said, okay, let me put it in the way you understand. If you have something in your custody that will destroy your enemy, what do you expect your enemy to do? I answered him. I said, your enemy need to fight back. So who is the enemy here? And who are the enemies here? Because I don't seem to understand what you mean by enemy having something to destroy one person or the other. And I said, okay, I shouldn't bother that. I will understand when time comes.
The party says it will do everything legally possible to stop the partisanship of the security agency. It's still the CoreTV Primetime News. We'll be back after this timeout with business, sports and stories from outside Nigeria. Don't go away. From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
And now to business stories. Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola has signed the 2015 budget into law. The 489 billion naira budget, according to Fashola, was signed on Sunday to ensure effective commencement of government business in the state.
How determined, how focused, how serious government is defined by how it treats its budget. I have heard talk about elections in the air and therefore budgets are delayed and so on and so forth. I don't think that there is any legitimate excuse for it, for a government that is able to plan and implement its plan. Part of the planning requires that any serious government should set the budget in advance of the end of the year.
On the sectoral breakdown of the budget, the State Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning, Ben Akabweze, says the budget is predicated on internal generated revenue of the state.
First, revenues that will accrue over the next 12 months, as well as expenditures that we will need to incur. So it is not like we have 489 billion naira sitting in the bank somewhere. We will have to generate these revenues throughout the year over the next 12 months. And so our expenditures will also have to then be paced out in tandem with the, the revenues.
The Lagos 2015 budget has the same size as that of 2014. Despite the fall in the crude oil price and the diminishing federal allocation, state governments insist that they would not review the $65 per barrel benchmark in the budget proposals for 2015. The global oil benchmark Brent, against which Nigeria's oil is priced, had tumbled below $58 per barrel, hitting its lowest level since May 2009. Oil prices have been in steep decline since June 2014 as a result of slow demand growth and the United States oil boom, which has increased supply. As part of efforts to sustain the benchmark, some of the states are also considering ways of boosting their internally generated revenue. And now to sports. As the AFCON 2015 opening matches gradually draw near, the Algerian national team has once again raised fears over the quality of facilities available for use by participating teams. Speaking at a training base in Tunisia, team coach Christian Gorkov says while he cannot complain about the quality of opponents lying in wait for the Phoenix, as the Algerian national team is known, the quality of facilities available in Equatorial Guinea is a source of worry. He says the team would have preferred to have the AFCON take place in Morocco due to the advantages it would have given his team. He says he's worried about the quality of the pitches on offer in Equatorial Guinea, a sentiment shared by his players Majid Bovgera and Mehdi Lachen. They both agreed that it is difficult to be the favorite in the African Cup of Nations because the competition has its own complications. And now we move to other stories outside Nigeria. World leaders linked arms at the start of a historic march against terrorism in Paris on Sunday, working in silence to huge applause as they led a mammoth procession through the French capital. François Hollande, Angela Merkel, and David Cameron were part of the march, as was Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, though the two did not walk side by side. The march, which is in response to the Charlie Hebdo massacre and another attack by jihadist-linked gunmen, led to the death of 17 people when it ended 3 days after the whole drama started in the French capital. French President François Hollande, while speaking before the rally, says France is the capital of the world today. He also thanked people around the world for the outpouring of support and emotions. The presidents of Niger, Mali and Gabon also attended the rally, estimated to have involved over 1 million marchers. Interior ministers from a range of nations gathered in Paris on Sunday and said it was essential for internet companies to cooperate in tackling terrorism. According to the French Interior Minister Bernard Cazeneuve, the meeting noted that the need for greater cooperation with internet companies to guarantee the reporting and removal of illegal content, particularly content that makes apologies for terrorism or promotes violence or hate. Cazeneuve also says the meeting rose convinced on a need to have a database for passengers traveling through Europe to ensure that those who use flights in the territory, go to theater of wars and also get terrorism training are monitored and prevented from causing havoc. He added that the need to tighten European laws without harming liberty is very urgent. U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder, who also spoke at the end of the meeting, described it as a very productive one.
Minister, for bringing us all here together to discuss ways in which we can prevent such atrocities from occurring in the future. I think we had a very productive meeting where we discussed very concrete measures that our nations can take so that we can ensure that we protect the values that truly unite us. On this day, we are all French citizens. I am a citizen of France, and we stand in solidarity with the French people.
And that's the primetime news for tonight. Before we go, a recap of our major stories. 2 young girls suspected to be suicide bombers blew themselves up in the popular GSM market in Portiscom, Yobe State. The All Progressives Congress said the Department of State Security is acting out the script of the People's Democratic Party to shift the 2015 general elections. Spokesman of the Presidential Campaign Organization of the People's Democratic Party, Femi Fani-Kayode, has said the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress should call his supporters to order over alleged violence. Thank you so much for staying with us tonight. Have a pleasant night rest. I am Ebolomo Adekunle.